I have to be really kind with myself because that's a preset. You know, you thought your mom was that way, so then you emulated the behavior. You kind of became that, and then to shed it off is hard because it's subconscious.
Yeah.
So it took years for me to just kind of like tell myself, okay, you went a bit too far. Calling yourself out, calling myself out was the biggest blessing that I
How did you do that? It's very hard, you know, because we have moms, we have egos too. To call yourself out, for example, if you do something that is like your mom.
You have to look at it long term. Like, how is this going to serve your relationship with your child?
True.
If you look at it today, of course it's serving you because you get what you want.
Yeah.
But down the road, they're going to feel a lot of resentment towards you, and they're going to cut off their relationship, at least on an emotional level. They're not going to open up.
So true.
You know, so I had to look at it long term because it affected my relationship with my mom. So I could see how it was going to turn out
With the kids.
with the kids.
Hey, welcome to Mama's Here. I'm Diana Hashim.
And I'm Sofea Mastan. We're here to share the real unfiltered sides of motherhood.
Think of us as your mom gang on this crazy adventure, constantly learning, growing, and most of the time, just winging it.
Mama's here because we know you've always been there for others.
Now it's our turn to be there for you.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to Mama's Here. I'm your host, Sofea Mastan.
And I'm Diana Hashim, and in our show, we dive into the unspoken sides of motherhood, the challenges, the triumphs, and everything that comes in between.
And in today's conversation, we're focusing on an important aspects of motherhood that doesn't get enough airtime, which is our mental health, especially when it feels like we're struggling to keep it all together, diagnosed condition or not.
Yeah, and it's about understanding that behind every mom is a person who might be dealing with a lot more than meets the eye, and we're talking about the silent battles, the small victories, and the everyday resilience.
With us today is Diana Danielle. As a mom of two, a successful actor, and someone who's been open about her experience with ADHD. She brings a unique perspective to our conversation.
Now, she will share her personal experiences, how she manages her mental health, the journey of living with ADHD, and what it means for her in her daily life as a mom.
Remember, no matter what you're dealing with, Mama's Here is here to listen and support. But first, a quick word from our sponsors.
We at Grow and Glow Mama are a sanctuary where motherhood meets empowerment. Together, we embrace strengths, lean on each other, and illuminate the path for all mamas. Join our vibrant community on Instagram and hotline group. Let's grow and glow together every step of the way.
So today we're looking into a deeply personal and challenging aspect of motherhood, navigating our mental health, and today we're focusing specifically through the lens of an ADHD mom.
Now, a lot of the time, we don't really know what to anticipate when it comes to the emotional roller coaster that comes with motherhood until we're actually in it. And from pregnancy to the early years of being a mom, there are a lot of changes. And for those with mental health illnesses, it can be an extra battle we have to face. And the reason why we decided to choose this particular topic on ADHD is because I too have ADHD, and it's always really nice to be able to talk to someone who's going through something very, very relatable.
Yes, but we have a quick disclaimer. We're not certified professionals, but we also advocate checking in with yourself and seeking help or support if you need. Today, we'll be exploring how these changes of motherhood can affect us. How do we know when it's time to seek help or a diagnosis? How does ADHD influence our experience as mothers from pregnancy and beyond?
So today we got Diana Danielle. What's up, girl?
Still trying to wake up.
She's not awake yet.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. We can do low energy first, but you know, as soon as we keep going, it'll pick up a little bit more. But she's like, this is a blissful life right here. When you can wake up at like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's like part of the parenting goal.
Not complaining.
Yeah, I've been still waking up at 6 a.m. man. I'm exhausted.
Yeah,
I want to wake up at 6, but like, because I have to like shoo my kids to school, so it's shoo
my kids
to school. But you sleep in. That's the beauty of, the kids going to school.
Yeah. Exactly.
I just wait for the day. But anyways, you've got an inspiring story. You've managed a very successful acting career, which I absolutely love.
Yes.
Like the film Imaginor. I totally cried. Sis, I cried, okay? I took a video of me crying my ass off. Okay, it's ridiculous. But you've got 2 amazing kids, all while dealing with ADHD. So I'm very excited to pick your brain on that.
Thanks. Yeah.
Let's start from the beginning of your journey. So can you tell us the moment you realize you need to get support or a diagnosis for ADHD? Do you have suspicious about having it before?
I always knew I was
Different.
Different. I want to say that different.
It's different.
I was neurodivergent. So it wasn't a question of like, when did I know? It was more like, when will I ever just go and get myself the help and the support I needed? So it's 2 different conversations. I always had the awareness that I was high strung, like my energy was always all over the place, and I was like very argumentative, and I was always forgetful, and I was always all over the place. And my teachers would say like, you're very smart, but you can do better. And I was like, what does that mean?
I hated that. It was always, you have so much potential.
Yeah.
That was particular.
Yeah. You're so bright, but dim at the same time, and it's like, how the hell do I change the light bulb here? Because I don't know how to switch it to a brighter light bulb, sort of thing, the metaphor that I normally use.
You're a smart light bulb now.
But when did you realize, what age were you?
I was, I think, in my early teens. That was the birth of the kind of, Yahoo, Google, Yahoo search, where you can just search on certain behaviors, and then ADHD came up, bipolar came up, autism came up. So I kind of myself just went through some of those things, and I was like, I am quite sure I'm ADHD. So I was quite adamant, like I knew where I was in the box of neurodivergence, but at the same time, you're not really too sure. You could have PTSD or something.
Yeah.
So I had myself diagnosed like 2-3 years ago. But only because I was asking some of my friends, and then he gave me a contact. He said, this person's pretty good. So I went over to the doctor and I said, hey, I have ADHD. And he was like, I haven't diagnosed you.
But I know already.
And I was like, no, I just want the pills and I want to get out of here. I almost bought the pills illegally,
online.
Oh my God. Please do not do this at home, guys.
No.
We're not recommended.
No, it's not. Things you don't say on a podcast. Yeah.
The beauty of the internet, you can get pills anywhere.
I just didn't want to face, sitting down with someone and kind of have to go through this whole diagnosis and all. I was like, I'm pretty sure I know what I have. I just need to calm my brain down, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So don't follow me, but that was one of the things I almost did.
Yeah, but did you see any therapist or psychiatrist? Prior to that.
Psychiatrist.
Prior to being diagnosed.
No. I did. I went to see a doctor at the hospital, and he gave me Xanax and diagnosed me with anxiety. But I think that was just like a short-lived anxiety because of my lifestyle. It wasn't really because of any kind of mental health issues, but it was just lifestyle related. So I think you're getting a bit too far. No?
It's like, I think it was after you said about the buying pills online. It's like, you are a very, very sticky person. I'm just going to step away over here.
It's like, you don't want to advocate her.
No, but either ways though, thanks for sharing that, because when I went through my experience of actually finding out I was ADHD, funny enough, you went straight to the doctor and said you had ADHD. I went to my doctor and actually written out a mind map of what my brain thinks about. And I'm like, okay, so I know you can't diagnose me right now, but what do I have? And he was just so puzzled by it. And then we started talking a little bit more. And then he was like, have you ever thought of this? And he sent me a website of ADHD. And I was just like, okay. And at first I was actually taken aback by it.
Was it before you become a mom, sir?
Yeah, this was actually, funnily enough, just before I became a mom. And I think, like you, I knew there was something up. I wasn't sure if I was the only one thinking about it, because I actually thought it might have been a normal thing to feel or do. But I think over time I realized, like, hey, actually there's something up that needs to be addressed, and it needs to be heard and known and whatever. And I think knowing more about myself was like a much better experience.
Yeah.
Okay there, honey.
I think the mic keeps on dropping.
It's okay. I mean, I can handle this one.
Yeah. If you want to grab it like a karaoke thing like me, you can do it too.
Once I do that, I need a song. Like, okay, yeah.
So, Dee told me this story that during her pregnancy, her ADHD brain switched off.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like,
it was awesome.
It was so cool when she was pregnant, when she found out she was pregnant.
I think because I did a lot of I was such an exercise freak when I was pregnant, because I was trying to make sure that I was going to get a healthy baby.
Yeah.
So I took care of my food, and I took care of my sleep, and I took care of my took care of my body. So I exercised a lot, went for walks, yoga, ate the healthiest food. So I think also ADHD is definitely more, I think it's an inflamed brain, right? So when you take care of the inflammation, then the symptoms decrease. So I think that's why I had the calmest time during that time. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't a miracle.
Yeah.
It was because the food that you eat, the things that you do, affects literally your whole, body's ecosystem, biology.
And was that for both pregnancies, you find?
Yeah, I because I wanted to give them like a good head start.
I mean, like, I think in that sense, like, I would definitely say I differ from that, because I'm generally like, I mean, you want to talk about like, you okay, sis?
I'm good. I have experience with stands, so
Yeah, no, but like, no, back to like my pregnancy, it was just like, because I don't know about you, how you would describe what's going on in your brain. I've got like 5 highways in there, and then depending on like the time of the day, traffic hours, or like festive seasons, it gets busy or it doesn't get too busy, and you kind of hear like a at the top of the right?
Oh my god, you guys are just like.
Yeah, but during my pregnancy, I wasn't really like taking care of my makan or anything like crazy. I wasn't exercising. In fact, my doctor was kind of like, you haven't been fit for a very long time. Your exercises should be relatively as, not minimal, but like the lightest, most gentle exercises that you could do. But I spent most of my time horizontal. And I found that like my brain was so quiet. I was like, this is normal human brain. Oh. Yeah, so it was actually really nice for a change.
I guess all the thoughts are going into the fetus.
Exactly.
But how about you? Do you have any intensify, like the moments where ADHD intensify during your pregnancy?
I don't remember. It's been 10 years.
Oh my God, yeah.
I think what it was is when you have a list of things to do, because you don't really have a good, functioning brain of planning and organizing, that's where it basically goes haywire. When I have things to plan, things to execute, then if it's just not one thing, or it's 10 things, then my brain is just going to mash it all up, and then I pull myself in different ways. I remember trying to get things for the baby, trying to get things for myself, trying to manage the house. So those things are not, it's not a symptom of ADHD. It is how we process. It's how the brain processes. It's not the best way to process. So I think when you have ADHD, the thing that you have to learn is your cognitive functioning is just not at par with a normal brain, because the way that you process and the way that you do things is a little bit more kind of like an electrocuted brain. So it's kind of, it has a bit of that.
That was my Saturday, guys. That's why I basically like totally went like, I have to do all this work now.
Yeah. But learning how to learning when you're spiraling because you see the endless list, and then pulling yourself back, and then disciplining your neurodivergent brain to go, listen, this is not the way you've done it your whole life. It's not working out. So you have to relearn how to execute stuff. So when you have to unlearn certain things.
Yeah.
And you have to be aware of your weaknesses. So you have to learn to delegate. You have to learn to plan and follow the steps and not go from like step 1 to step 5 or step 1 to like step 7 and then back to step 2 and then like go to step 6.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't
Work like that
anymore.
Yeah.
And when I actually followed through with the planning, I realized that it gets easier the next time because your brain is it's neuroplastic, right? The neuroplasticity for the brain is real. So it will constantly learn to change and adapt. So I believe that when you keep executing things in a normal, healthy, cognitive way, cognitively good way, I suppose that their the pathways are going to connect and then it will then serve you. So you can actually grow beyond that. Yeah.
I love that. You should totally write a book, dude.
Yeah, I wanted to say
And
that.
like a to-do list for any
I'm like
ADHD
in
person.
awe with whatever she said.
No, because like it's so easy. Do you know, like, okay, I'm not gonna lie, it was difficult to learn about ADHD period from people's perspective rather than doctors' perspective. And they're also like technical and very medical terms that you might not really get. And like I find that for moms, they would find it really, really overwhelming. I have been experiencing it. I mean, I'm been a mom for about a year now, and I can't lie. There are days where my brain gets so damn busy that it becomes so overwhelming. Like, do you remember? I know it was like 10 years ago, but like even throughout your journey as a mother, like how has there ever been moments where ADHD has actually contributed a feeling of overwhelmness?
Every day. It doesn't go away because I think that's like our default. Yeah. But then I learn like busy doesn't mean productive. And so whenever I'm busy, I'll always remind myself that it doesn't actually contribute to my productivity.
I love that. Busy does not mean productive.
So true.
Yeah. So then I realize like, stop. Why are you cleaning the toilet when you're supposed to do something else?
Yeah.
Like, that is going to contribute to you feeling better about yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's always like that, babe. We're always running away from the things we have to do.
No, I call it productive procrastination because, like, you know, you're much like, I have to clean the kitchen actually, but then I decided I'm going to clean the living room. Productive procrastination.
Yeah, yeah. But you always have
productive.
to pull yourself back.
Yeah.
And like, babes,
Like, stop.
it's not the living room; it's the kitchen.
It's like, get over yourself.
Yeah, but it's always you always have to. It's tiring because mentally you always have to like. You're like a wild horse, and you have to rein yourself. Stop going that way.
It's like, yeah, no, I mean, I notice that when I'm driving actually, because like my mind will go with the road that I'm going at, but then suddenly if I turn another junction, I'm like, hey, I left my thought process and like last exit.
I have this habit where, because with ADHD, I think you always love change.
Yeah.
And you always love to do something that surprises you because it ups your dopamine, right? Because
Yeah.
ADHD is all about not having enough dopamine.
Yeah.
And you have this low motivation, whatever. So my husband is so annoyed because he's always like, let's go through the same way because it gets to it's the fastest way. And then my brain's like, nah, I like surprises. Let's go through this way. And then he'll look at me like, what road are you taking? And I said, I find that this road is less boring.
But you know what though, like thinking about that, it's not surprising because my mom and I, we used to like do that when we lived in Sri Kembangan, where normally there's just that like, it's like we live in a factory area and there's actually a lot of really cool shops back there, but you'd have to go through the road less taken. And then the next thing you know, you're like, wow, so much discovery and everything just like lights up in your brain. But otherwise, it's the stimulation, isn't it? And I feel like even, it's not just as like for people with ADHD, we can also look at it as like women in general, we're kind of chasing for stuff to either make us more productive or make us more like, you know, complete, better or whatever. And
I think it's just a human nature. Maybe, I don't know about men. I think men too, but human nature where we always want to feel like we're constantly learning and growing. And it's not wrong. I think it's just more apparent for people with less dopamine where we're just searching for things a bit more adventurously. Yeah. Yeah.
So what's the most adventurous thing you've done?
I would say that on a serious note, I've taken it a bit more mature in like a mature way, because then I'll think about all the things I'm passionate about, and then start going for actual classes that makes me feel like I'm growing as a human being.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, rather than going on these like little random explorations. But then I do allow myself to go through like just go unhinged sometimes.
Yeah. So like what were some of the activities that you did to sort of like navigate your brain? I mean,
I'm learning Mandarin at this point.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And
What else is not in the list?
I allow because it just makes my brain feel fed, learning new words. And the best part, I think people hate learning like Chinese characters. I love learning Chinese characters because I want to write one day and stuff. So I learned to read the Quran mainly with like this person, but then I like to like self-learn. So I'll get the fundamentals and then go off on my own and like learn and stuff like that, read better and understand the meanings better and stuff. So I allow these like more positive influences to I love to read, I suppose. So there's a lot of reading involved. And then I also like signed up for Taekwondo for some fucking reason. And it allows me to, because I don't like to exercise.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, why don't I just learn martial arts? So I was also doing Krav Maga and so all these like kind of staple stuff that I kind of know that I love and I'd be proud of myself. And then I signed up for A-levels again.
No! My God!
Why do you want to
Were you a studious kid? Like, were you academically okay in school?
Yes, I was, but then I was also working at the same time.
So right now you're taking A-levels.
I'm taking some subjects because I want to pursue neuroscience.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. No, that makes sense. So I don't deny. I've been like toying with the idea of like studying psychiatry, to be honest. And the thing is, I never got to complete my degree. I've got a foundation like just certificate, that's it. But for me in school, it was always very difficult to just like pinpoint what it is I wanted to do or actually have the discipline to do it, which is why I have been sort of taking myself back.
Exactly.
But sis. Wow.
How many subjects?
Because the thing is, we know what with ADHD, you can't just learn for the sake of learning. You have to love it, because if not, it's not going to work out.
That's true.
So
listening to them right now, I'm self-diagnosing myself.
Go see a psychiatrist. They're awesome. They're awesome. No, but in all seriousness though, like I find that activities would do very well for an ADHD brain. But if you were to say like, so seeing as the fact that like, your kids are already like 8 and 10, right?
Yeah,
and
I'm allowed to.
There's like more time.
Stuff,
there's more time for yourself. What was it like, if you recall, like within the first few years? Because like for me now, I find that, so you take Taekwondo, babe, I take parkour and capoeira, sis. So like macam, it's one of those things where we need to let loose, let out. Like it's that energy as well. And you want to have that kind of activity that doesn't just tire your body, but it tires your brain.
It's
I'm like listening to them, I'm just like
hitting balls at a driving range. That's one of my favorite ones. But I don't have time to go because like my daughter's
the baby
one.
is like small.
Do you recall yours?
I recall being frustrated, not having the freedom to move around and do things that I wanted to do when the kids were small. But then I just kind of realized, like, why don't I just instead immerse myself in the growth of these people, these little ones, these mini-me's, so that, I'm also, like, in an extended part of me is also growing in a way where I make sure that they learn a lot of. I put my ADHD self into them so they know so many different things and they're capable of doing so many different things because I allow them to. I'm not like do this one thing, like do 20 things and just explore your strengths and your weaknesses, and I allow them to fail. I allow them to just have fun with just doing.
But I think that's the beauty of ADHD,
What?
That you guys let your kids to try everything, because some moms, you don't try everything and then you don't finish it, right?
Yeah.
But this, you guys actually...
If they don't finish it, it actually does tell me that they're not really into it.
Yeah. So it's kind of naive. Like I could learn from that because I'm just like, you do that and you have to finish it. But actually it's nice to make it more colorful for their life, right?
But it's very interesting that you brought that up. So like when it's not too long ago, I was having this conversation with my mom and I was saying like, because my friend was telling me about her experience about like her pregnancy and all that. And she was saying that one of the parenting classes that she went to was like, what was it that you would have wanted to change as a kid? Like you would want it differently. And then I actually said, I wish that my parents would give me more discipline compared to what I have like back then. Because it used to be like my parents would give us anything we wanted. So if we were to like say like, hey, I want to play piano. Okay, immediately got a piano teacher. But then by the 4th class, it's like, I don't feel like playing piano anymore. No questions asked. They just stop.
Okay, there's certain things I would say, yes, you're right. But if it's just certain, you can see when something's just a hobby and it doesn't in the long term give them much benefit. But there are things that I say you have to do because these are the things that will allow some progress in your life. Sure. So there are things that I allow it to be, okay, go with the flow. You like it, you don't, you don't. And then there are things that the kids are just like, no compromise, is it? No compromise.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So what's no compromise?
No compromise is definitely they have to get a black belt in Taekwondo. That's one thing. Only because to me it teaches discipline. Yep. And it allows them to have a bit more kind of like self-confidence, when things go wrong. And then learning a new language is something that they have to finish it. Yeah. Because I think being trilingual or, and multilingual is something that is so beneficial. Yeah. Also learning the Quran until they finish it is is something that it's a no compromise.
I love that.
Some other things. Yeah.
Yeah. At least it gives them like the freedom of choice when they think it's a freedom of choice. But it's not a freedom. It's a lie, guys. Children, don't believe anything we say, but
certain things are life skills like learning how to cook and stuff, So next will be financial literacy and then learning how to cook, learning housekeeping. Those are the things that I'm building them through. And those are things that you can't compromise because those are life skills. So I sit them down and I make sure they realize what are life skills and what are hobbies.
Right.
So once they know these things, then they're good. And, they're turning teenagers soon. So I told my husband, we have to keep them 3 times busier than they are now so that they don't go off and then like do things they're not supposed to, because busy means tired and tired means
they're at home at the end of the day.
So nice. That's such a good heads up.
I mean,
right. Like because I only have a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old. So that's actually because when we make sure that they're busy, then they don't do all this.
Make sure they have a vision for themselves. I think allow them to kind of grow into themselves and tell you what they want, and then you be that most supportive parent. Like, you have to. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do that. And then like they think they're going towards their goal and their vision of life, but you're just trying to keep them off from trouble,
or like going off rail kind of situation. What were you doing when, like at their age? Do you remember?
I was pursuing my dream.
That is
of
nice.
Being, an entertainer. So
and that's you yourself that want to do it.
Yeah. So that's how I realized I didn't get into drugs. I didn't get into all these crazy shit.
I mean, I'm not going to say I didn't pursue my dreams. I spent a lot of time daydreaming, like a lot of internal monologues, talking in front of the mirror. Yeah, I mean, no, but then again, we used to like party. I used to party a lot, like, I've cut back now that I'm a mom. I have my nights sometimes that I
my
need
friends would have to drag me to clubs because I was like, I don't really want to be here. So
oh goodness, no, but still though, I feel like I think that I feels as though you've had like a great set of like a great foundation to start off with your like going through what you needed to go through, but it's like molded this parenting style that a lot of moms at the very least, or I don't know about dads, but like moms in general, you'd want to have that sense of balance. Like, do you feel like there were certain things that you needed to let go of? Like, because we can't have control of everything. And
I was quite, I had a temper, so I had to let go of this like sense of control and them having to be a certain way, because my mom was that way as well. So I realized that wasn't serving the family, but I have to be really kind with myself because that's a preset. You know, you thought your mom was that way, so then you emulated the behavior. You kind of became that, and then to shed it off is hard because it's subconscious.
Yeah.
So it took years for me to just kind of like tell myself, okay, you went a bit too far. Calling yourself out, calling myself out was the biggest blessing that I
How did you do that? To call, it's very hard, you know, because we have moms, we have egos too. To call yourself out, for example, if you do something that is like your mom.
You have to look
for
at
example.
it long term. Like, how is this going to serve your relationship with your child?
True.
If you look at it today, of course it's serving you because you get what you want.
Yeah.
But down the road, they're going to feel a lot of resentment towards you, and they're going to cut off their relationship, at least on an emotional level. They're not going to open up.
So true.
You know, so I had to look at it long term because it affected my relationship with my mom. So I could see how it was going to turn out
With the kids.
with the kids. So then, you know, I had to learn to listen about their perspective and their wants, and then kind of also put what I want, kind of, you know, having a discussion was important, even with a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
but it wasn't always the case. It was years and years and years of calling myself out, and then as things became great and like, oh, I've changed, and then you kind of like dip into this kind of like spiral where you're that again, and then you have to pull yourself out, and then you know. And also, I think the biggest blessing was having to call myself out in front of my kids. I'm like this. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
You don't deserve this. This is bad. Like, this is toxic. This is wrong. It's not you, it's me.
You say that to your kids.
So they know that I'm being mean and I'm being inconsiderate, and this is not something they deserve.
Yeah.
This is something that this is my flaw.
Yeah.
So then, you know, they side-eye me when I
Like when they
Mom,
notice
you're
the
wrong.
things, you're like, you're getting there again. Like, no. I mean, Alia rolls her eyes at me. I'm not kidding. I like to serenade her, but then I sometimes like to go over the top, you know, like macam, oh my God. And then suddenly she's like rolls eyes like that. I'm like, you're one. What the heck? But still at the same time, I love that you are able to be kind to yourself in that aspect, to be able to say that, you know, it's okay to make these mistakes. And I think that's a lot of fear that we have in us to make mistakes, but to be able to call ourselves out, it's quite insane. But anyways, we're going to take a really short break. And when we come back, we'll be talking about reaching out for support and dealing with pressure from other people, especially when it comes to dealing with ADHD, because outside noise, catch you in a bit.
Welcome back. Now let's get into something a lot of mom can totally understand, dealing with the outside noise that can be so frustrating and finding the right gang to make you grow as a person in this role as a mom. So Dee, can you share a time when external opinions, I'm sure you have a lot to say about this.
Oh dude, yeah. Dengan hidup selebritis.
Exactly. Negatively impacted your mental health, and how did you navigate through it?
I remember I was at a pharmacy, and then my son was like 2 or 3 years old, and then he was touching things, and then I kind of got upset in the pharmacy. Like, I had a little mom breakdown where it's like, stop touching it. And I remember that going on the internet, and someone was like,
No
way.
Fuck right off.
Diana is not as as chill and lembut as she portrays herself to be as a
goodness,
mom.
that's
BABI.
And then, like, you know, I witnessed it myself, where she was like yelling at her son,
And I'm sure that comments from a mom too.
something like that. I would never do it to my kid, and and I was like, lucky you. You know,
Good
lucky
for
you, because I did. You know, like, there's a point where because I normally don't really care about what people say. So I was just like, yeah, okay, whatever, lucky you. You know, great that you have the patience that I don't have. And I think everybody comes from a different background, different sets of like levels of patience, understanding, compassion, empathy, whatever. So you can't pull yourself together with everybody else. So I learned that from aeons ago. But it was just such an eye-opening time for me, because I realized, like, first, they already have an impression that I never lose my shit.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, Diana is like so soft-spoken and stuff. So she would never yell at her kids. And I was like, that is on you. That was your opinion, not mine.
Yeah. That's your own
I never showed that I was like this kind of like Mother Teresa mom where I would never like go unhinged and stuff. So that was interesting. It was an interesting perspective to see it. People already had a kind of like an idea of
who you are,
idealistic mom that you're not.
Yeah.
So I was like, but I'm not that. So how did that come about?
Yeah.
I think because there's a persona and the way that you present yourself professionally, and they put that as like you mom, you know. And I was like, that's not me at home, obviously. Me at home is someone who has to juggle so many different things. And of course, there are days when I wake up and I don't feel as good about myself, so I project it onto my family. That's everybody else too, right? And there are days when you wake up and you're like, you know, this little Miss Chocolate Factory and you're the happiest mom. And suddenly you have this energy to go to the theme park and give everything you want to your kids. There are those days. So I realized like people will have this idea of you. And it goes both ways. Like there are moms that look like they are the worst kinds of moms. You know what I mean? Like they're so rock
bad moms.
They're
Like,
rock and roll. And they're like, you know, they have no rule and stuff. And then they have the most intelligent, well-behaved, well-rounded, balanced kids. You never know, you know, like I could try, but then I don't know how my kids are going to become, you know? So yeah, it's this idealistic thing where it just kind of makes you kind of get caught up.
But it's kind of amazing how you navigate through it, because I think you were, how old were you when you had your first one?
22.
Exactly.
Jeez, I did not realize
I'm
that.
32 now.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
So my son's 10.
Sorry, I'm the eldest one of you.
No, like when I'm 40, my son's 18. Like I'm washing my hands clean, you know. So
No, but it's kind of nice how you put it together, because when people talk about me like, oh, you didn't breastfeed your kid, and I feel like, oh my god, mentally I'm like when I first had my first baby, but now I'm more like, why
is that a problem?
Exactly. Now
Eat people so much sometimes. I can't even
No,
say it. It's
the
just
sad
like,
part is,
as long as the kid has milk. you
exactly,
know?
and the sad part
if
is
it's
it
horse
comes from
milk.
moms who degrade other moms. You know, that it's why it is so painful, and that is why we started Mamas Here, because we want to talk about the reality. Like even a celebrity like you scream at your kids and it's okay because we're human.
I mean, technically it's not.
I mean, it's not.
I mean, it's okay if
it's not encouraged, but it's something that's not encouraged.
Yeah.
But I know.
Yeah, I know. Like we have to be politically correct here. That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
here.
yes.
Like it's not okay to be yelling at your kids, but it's also kids being kids, where sometimes you have to draw the line and boundaries and you have to show them who's boss.
And we are also human. Moms are human, and
because I have to start. You know, I have to give them the sense of who's in control, because once you become too friendly with them and too kind, I'm so sorry, but as human beings, it's human nature to trample on people who are just nice. So when I give them the, hey, I'm the boss here, you know, so then they're like, oh, sorry, boss, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
I'm trying to keep you alive.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just, it's like, but that's the whole point. It's within your own character that you have to sort of like develop that skill. You don't want to pretend to be someone that you're not. You have to be incredibly mindful when it comes to making certain decisions, and even like, you know, how you want to project or not project or treat your kids, or even yourself for that matter. But like during your like, you know, the earlier years or even up to now, like do you have like any mom gang friends who are like, you know, relatively similar, or are people just like,
I think they all have their different styles and we learn from each other. My friend Namira, she's the most patient mom, and then she becomes a tiger like once in a blue moon, but then it keeps the kids in line again, you know, because like they trample all over her, and then she gives way, and then she's like, and then the kids are like, oh wait, yeah.
That was my grandma, where she gives the cock stare, like that stare, the death stare of like, macam, okay, everyone like, ha ha ha. Suddenly Nini was like, she's like, sus. The eye, and then everyone's like, oh,
the eye is
it's like,
and then everybody knows
it's enough.
all the things that they have done wrong, right?
Exactly. It's like the sudden feel of like, I am now a loser and I'm a horrible human being. That guilt feeling comes in. You're like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
I remember like my husband has difficulty reining the kids because he doesn't know when to show authority. So like he will, I don't know, like sometimes like the kids will speak in like a way where they're not supposed to him, or you know, when he gives order and then like they're like no, you know.
I don't think it's just your husband. I think it's just dads in general.
Yeah, and then like I have to remind him like, you're the dad. Like show your leadership and authority to them. Don't allow them to just cross you like that.
Yes.
Call them back and tell them exactly what they need to hear. And even if they are upset, and I think they emotionally guilt trip the fathers. They don't know what to do. You know?
That's what my 5-year-old do to my husband.
Yeah.
I want my husband to hear this.
Yeah. No, but to be fair though, it makes perfect sense because like, I mean, I don't know about, you know, it's different circumstances in a lot of households. Yeah. Some dads might not be at home as often as mom. Therefore, you know, you don't F with mom.
Yeah.
You don't do that because you've seen her lose her shit before.
Yeah.
But then at the same time for daddy, and you're just like, you know, everything melts, everything is okay. But at the same time, there's that like men feel guilt. Husbands, or spouses, or partners, they feel guilt. I won't deny that. And we have to always be mindful of that factor. True. But that is the point where when you feel that guilt, you want to overcompensate and just be like, I let you do whatever you want.
Because, when dads, when they start to get angry, they're like so scary.
Yeah.
So I think they try not to do that as much because it is quite scary.
My husband said, I'll beat you if you don't listen to me. I'll beat you. Then there's one point he keep on saying, I said, you never beat her. You just say that you want to beat her. Beat her. So she's sure. So she'll be scared of you. I remember talking to him in the lift. Everybody's
he will do threats, right? Like,
sparring with your empty threats.
You know, I'm just going to swing you.
I'll beat you then, you know. I've heard you say this 10 times. I said, you do this one more time, I'll beat you. You say that the last time.
Like the moms don't even give threats. She just goes for it.
Hey, like
that's so true. But no, of course I tell Farid like, no, you're too strong to be, you know, to be swinging at your kids. But there can be consequences and things that you can take away from them and activities that you can stop. You know, like, hey, if you do this, you're off the football team because, you know, you don't show respect for the people in the house. How are you going to show respect
to your teammates,
you know, to your teammates and stuff and your coach? So then he's like, good idea. And then he uses it all the time. I'll take you out the football team. I'll take you out the football team. I'll take you out the football team. Like,
so it doesn't work anymore.
Oh my god!
No.
Dude. Now we need a lesson. We need a husband 101.
Okay, that one we'll do on another episode for sure. But I feel as though that, like, you know, this is one of the hardest things for us to actually do, to like find that strength within us to actually follow through something, to take things away from them, because they're kids at the end of the day, kan? But of course you have to draw your line.
You have to also, like, I think there's a list of punishment that you are able to carry out. That's what I do. I have one in my phone where it's like, okay, 2 days without TV. I think that's good enough because after 2 days, then I have to nanny you. I have to give you activities. I don't have time for that.
Yeah, I'm a TV time mom now. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, it's like over the weekend.
I don't know how parents do the 1 hour TV time.
Dude, I tried. Okay, so when Aulia wakes up at like 6:30, 6:40, I'm like praying. I thank Allah so much when she wakes up at 7, because that way I've only got an hour before like I can let her watch TV again. So we'll run around, do my keying in 3,000 steps, by the way, in the morning. Like that's what you do with a 1-year-old. It's the truth. When she starts walking, I'm not lying. But then after that, it's like from 8 to 9. That's when you give TV time. But then suddenly, the next thing you know, you're like, oh my God, I'm so mentally exhausted. Can we just like get a 2-hour video in here?
Yeah.
And then it just stretches and whatever.
My kids don't get TV time until after 12 because mornings, I believe, is time to read, time to learn. So when you have TV time in the morning, then it just goes continue. All the way. So like TV time after 12 and then lunch, and then they're going to go out to play. So technically I've decreased TV time by hours just by telling them like nothing before 12. And that allows them, and whatever is before 12 has to be something that they're learning. So they have to prove to me, hey, Ibu, I'm watching this because it teaches me so and so. And I'm like,
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like the shows that we're watching at the moment, like Alia keeps saying up. She knows how to clap her hands and everything, and it's like she's
So
picking
it's not
stuff
just
up from there.
mindless
No,
TV stuff, at
definitely.
I
least
need to
before
change
12.
the TV that Mazhara's watching. She's watching Mighty Little Beam in Netflix.
Okay.
And it's like this Indian TV show.
Right.
And they're not speaking. So it was just like Tom and Jerry. And
Right.
My husband's like, I think we need something that she can speak because the only thing she speaks is mommy, daddy, kaka.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. She's only 1.5, right?
Yeah, I say, okay, maybe. But sometimes it's true. TV time helps.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if it's too much, then like you say, if it's in the morning.
1.5 is tricky. 1.5 is tricky.
Did you have a lot of like play dates and stuff at that point of time?
Babe, every day. I was 22. I had all the energy to do play dates every day.
So
If
you had
see
mom
the
gang
size
lah.
of my son's brain, like
Wait, so you had but you did it like play date with you and your son, or like play date with other moms and like kids as
with
well?
kids,
Yeah, okay, kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's laughing. My son literally has the same head size as my husband, if not bigger.
Oh dear. Actually, but in that sense, do you see any of yourself in your kids?
They're all me.
Really? Copy paste
Potential ADHD also.
I think I would say my son might. I'm not able to diagnose him, but he has some tendencies that I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my daughter, no, she's quite calm, collected, and she's pretty cool.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Like, I think to be able to see that, I'm not gonna lie, like prior to getting pregnant, one of my biggest fears was the ADHD factor. But bearing in mind, I hadn't known at that point. So like I think I was going through like this intense, I don't want to say if it was depression, anxiety. I wasn't sure what it was, but there was so much uncertainty and there was a lot of disconnect. And I felt like whenever my ADHD is in the next level, I feel like my body and my mind is like completely
Everywhere.
different place. And it's not even everywhere. It's basically like I don't even know if the thing that just happened was real or a dream. Like if it's massive like disconnect in that aspect where it's almost as though it's a scary feeling, and I was so scared that.
I've never had that.
Really? Okay, now that might be different. Maybe I need to see my psychiatrist doctor.
No, I think maybe you just perceive things differently. Doesn't make it less ADHD or more. Yeah.
No, but I'll be like, that being said, like that moment like really did put a lot of fear into me, that if first and foremost bringing a kid into the world, if I go through a very overwhelming stage in my life, like, you know, how do I manage her? Or what if she went through the same thing?
Wait, don't you feel like as a person with ADHD, when things go south, you're most calm? I feel like when something big happens and something scary or whatever happens, or like when something is so last minute or something is just so urgent, that's when I fucking perform.
Yeah. That.
Really?
But
I'm not worried about. Yeah.
I thought that's just normal because I do that. It's last minute.
yeah.
Like,
No, it's like it's
Game
one of
on.
those. No, but I'm talking about like it wasn't so much as like if shit hits the fan, like, you know, things are like, oh my god, you know, like we're supposed to do this on this day, but it didn't work out. Like, yeah, you're right. I'm mega chill about it because I'm like, there's more chaos going on in my brain right now, so it's completely okay. But it's like, but still though, like, you know, going back to what we were talking about, did you ever feel that? Like
Disconnect.
No, not the disconnect part. Like, it's in the fear of like what your kids might go through at the end of the day, or even how
If
you.
they have ADHD.
Yeah, or even like if on a bad day, for example, that you
My
have
bad day,
Yeah.
they'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they're privileged enough. Sometimes you have to remind yourself the capacity that you have is enough, that even if whatever happens, that they're already in a good place. Because I feel like the way I manage my fear is when I try to look at things or people who are going through much worse. Then I realize like, I wouldn't say that, oh, they're fine, but I'm saying like the human, you know, capacity is so huge that we're able to actually carry a full load of of hardship or
Yeah.
uncertainty. And
Yeah.
we live in a time where we're so comfortable that even a little bit of discomfort, sense of loss or sense of whatever is already putting us, at like such a anxious place. But you go 50 years ago or 100 years ago, a lot of these comfort and automation hasn't even existed or hadn't existed. So we're so comfortable in being comfortable that even the slightest discomfort makes us feel guilty that we're not able to serve our family. But I always remind my kids, like, you have it good.
Yeah.
Even the worst is not worst enough.
That's
So-
true. A sense of gratitude goes a long way. It's one of those
Or
things.
understanding that,
Yeah.
having comfort is already a privilege. So you're fine,
Yeah.
and you have to allow the kids to be toughened by life.
Yeah.
You can't shield them from everything. They need to know truth. They need to know what's going on in the world, and they need to be unshielded by all of these things because they're going to go out on their own anyway. You're not going to be able to be parent all their lives. So when there's this sense of like, uncertainty or change or something big, I just allow them to immerse themselves and say, this is life.
Yes, yeah. Do you know what? I love that.
And I love it.
It's so zen.
Yeah, nobody actually.
She's reached nirvana.
Because nobody has ever told us. I mean, me that personally, like.
Yeah.
You have to tell them the truth. People are always judging. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, but never actually said, you will not be parent the whole time of your like adult, even teenagers.
Yeah.
They won't listen to us. They would want to learn by themselves, right?
Yeah.
So this is actually a very good.
Go off.
Yeah.
Right.
Go off an adventure.
It's like here are the basic skills and the foundation that you should have before I let you go do your thing. I'm
Yeah.
here
And
if you need to come back to me.
Yeah,
kind
and
of
it's so
thing.
refreshing to hear it from you because I'm sure. Like, I don't know, how do you maintain your like mental health, especially like when you told everyone that you had ADHD.
Actually, when it did, who was the first person
to know,
that
like, especially in public? I think.
yeah.
How when you told everybody that you had
ADHD, yeah.
ADHD, I'm sure people. Did any of, I think, the netizen, I would say, netizens have talked about how you mother your kids?
What was the question?
No, basically like when you so first question was like, when did you come out as ADHD?
Yes.
And then after that, it's like, has there ever been any form of judgments based on your condition
ADHD? Yeah.
and your mothering style, or your not even mothering, human you style? Because actually one of the things that I find that was difficult for me was that there was an expectation. Oh, you're ADHD, therefore you're like that.
Yeah.
It's expected.
I live in that expectation.
Girl.
I love how they're like, she's like that. Then I can do whatever I want. Thank you for the freedom.
I'm an impulsive person. Let's go shopping.
Yeah. If you are able to kind of understand that I'm different, however way you perceive the different, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Because then I don't have to act a certain way or be a certain way because I know that you're not even expecting me to be normal. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
So I think not being fearful of like this kind of like, people are going to judge me. Go and live it, man.
Yeah.
Go embrace
the crazy.
Embrace that they think you're crazy.
Exactly.
I think if you're in corporate, I think it's harder because you have to kind of be reliable, dependable.
Yep.
You have to reach a certain KPI. But being in this industry, who's normal really? Like somebody out there has like disassociative, personality, and then this person is bipolar. This person has ADHD. This person has anxiety.
Yeah.
This person has depression.
Yeah.
Like everybody has some sort of like, diagnosed or undiagnosed shit happening. So you feel like you're just part of this whole large mental health crowd, neurodivergence, and it's fine. But I respect my work. I respect people, and I respect getting the job done. And I think at the end of the day, however I act, if I get the job done and I tick the box and I go home and I get paid, and it's all good. I'm not making anybody's life any harder.
Were there any like empowering strategies that you've discovered in order to keep that balance for yourself?
Balance of work.
And motherhood, ADHD all together, like, because it's all jumbled up at the end of the day.
I think being structured is very important. I just learned this a few years ago, and I'm still learning to be structured because it's kind of a new concept for me still, because I've, other people have structure, embedded in them all their life by their parents or, but my mom was not structured. So learning to be structured is something that has given me so much relief, so much more calm expectation, and I'm able to function in a much my ADHD self, but in a contained ADHD-er.
Managed. ADHD managed.
With chain, I've chained myself up to, and I, again, call myself out, give expectation. I don't give excuses. Yeah, you have ADHD. So people are dying, Diana. Like this.
People are dying, kid.
Exactly. So I kind of like call myself out, like, Diana, you have ADHD. So what? Nobody cares. The world doesn't revolve around you. Get your shit together. People are dying, Kim.
Totes. I agree, like 100%, because that was it's like one of those taboo factors. There are people who don't want to get diagnosed.
Don't victimize yourself, please.
Because they're afraid of victimizing themselves. You were telling me. Yeah, after a while, at the end of the day, some people, because they dive so far into it, that everything they do is like, I have ADHD, or I have this, I have that.
I have friends like that.
Really? Even
get off your head.
Era?
Huh?
In this era, people
because
still judge.
they have so little knowledge and they freak out.
Understood.
So they every shortcoming they have, it's like, because I have ADHD, and it's like,
but
okay.
But if you want to succeed, you're gonna have to try hard. But Chop, I have to ask you this question about the organization skills, because I have no such thing as organization skills.
Yeah,
is it buku or what? Like, you fill it in a notebook or like?
Writing. I have 50 different notebooks.
Oh wow!
I love that. I have a unicorn notebook where I just like
50 different notebooks.
But I feel like I need to buy more.
They're all over the place. They're all over the place. But now that's why I say, like, you have to start somewhere. Yeah, first you don't know what to do, but the fact that you're trying, then it will slowly build up into this kind of like this subconscious habit. So before I used to have 50 different notebooks, but now these notebooks have like personal, business, and then to-do list. So and then there's this one for Mandarin, because sometimes like my Mandarin is like in this notebook. And then like, how do I have classes every week, right? So then I have to have a specific notebook for that.
Were you ever that kid in school who always like lost their buku kerja, buku latihan, and had to come up with a new book?
What is it that I didn't lose in school? Like, not just buku latihan, babe. Like
Tumblr,
you see this face.
You're very bright, but you're very dim.
Yeah, you're bright, but you're dim.
So bad.
Oh well. What advice? I mean,
it's a lot harder though. It's a lot harder to organize yourself.
Yeah.
But it's a lot harder to not organize yourself.
Yeah. The spiral.
So what's the heart? Choose your heart.
Choose your difficult.
Somebody has said
do
this
you want to be? Do you want to
choose your heart?
Do you want to struggle to succeed, or do you want to struggle and just spiral down and be like,
life?
It's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
But it's just you'll feel better about yourself, and you'll feel shit. So I would rather.
Which one do you want?
Yeah. That's the little spice of dopamine that
but
we
like
need.
I said, like the neural pathways are going to grow, and then your cognitive functioning will get stronger. But you need to practice it, because then your brain will get better at it.
Yeah.
How do you do it? Podcasts, YouTube videos. There's a lot of books that you can go into, and once you're determined as an ADHD, you're there. So I'm sure once you get wanting to do it, you'll definitely succeed.
Yeah, I definitely find that like one of the things, knowing helps. Like, so if you whoever that's tuning in right now, like if you feel like is some kind of a disconnect somewhere, go seek help. There's nothing wrong with knowing. You have to be mindful that if you don't want to victimize yourself, or you don't want to be medicated, you can make it very clear to the doctors at the end of the day. But you, like what Dee says, you have to be able to manage it.
Hey, there's a behavioral therapy as well for ADHDers. So they're going to fix certain things and try to help you with your way of managing your emotions, managing your life. So those are the things that you can also dive into as well, like behavioral therapy.
Totes, my goats. But like, unfortunately, we have to let you go because like we're running out of time soon. However, do you have any advice for any moms who are going through this, who may or may not know if they have any mental health condition?
You know, I think I'm inspired today because I think, babe, this is a business, babe. This is a business opportunity.
I wanted to say that to you, you know, like, I kind of want to say it to her, like, people talk about anxiety a lot, but nobody actually talk about ADHD. And I think so many people are struggling because I do have friends who say, like, you know, there's something wrong with them, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And I think, like, people like you who has the following, when Dee said that, I want to talk about
money.
Yeah, I want to talk about ADHD. She said she want to talk about ADHD because she wants to know more. She wants to connect with a mom that has ADHD.
Thank you, Dee.
So this is actually, it helps. Like, even me as a mom, like, sometimes I feel disconnected, and I always say that, or maybe something is wrong. But now that we had this podcast, I might want to see maybe this is what's wrong. You know?
I think the potential for this business plan that we have right now is that we can do a cognitive sort of systemized way of going through your life. Like, what do you do with someone with ADHD or if you're neurodivergent and you want to organize your life? Babe, that is a class that we can actually do.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm serious.
Yeah, I'm not for realsies. Like, you know, we'll call you later. Like, you know, well, maybe not that early in the day so we can let you sleep in.
But definitely, I think this is because ADHD is something that is more common as you go now.
Yeah.
So there's moms, there's business people, there are students who will need a lot of help in this. Yeah. So thank you so much. We already have a business plan.
Yay. Okay, well, fantastic. You know what? And Mama's here. We're not just about supporting each other, but we're also about
making money,
making businesses happen. Everyone, it's like Mama's here, business.
I mean, if it gives value to the people around, then I think it's not exploitation.
But anyways, back to the show. It's like now, but thank you so much though for joining us today. Like, it's been really nice to be able to talk about it. And I think like one of my takeaways is definitely like just it's like the opportunity to be a bit kinder to yourself by allowing yourself to call you out. Like, you know, calling myself out. It is an opportunity to be kinder to myself.
It is being kind to yourself because allowing yourself to go through the same thing is not kind at all.
Absolutely.
It's like you enable yourself.
Yeah, you know? That's the worst.
And also to know if something is wrong with you, and to know that, you know, for example, you have ADHD, anxiety, depression, to know that it actually helps to improve yourself better.
I think the word shouldn't be aku woke. Shouldn't be wrong.
Get up.
It should be something different. That's why I don't call myself broken. I say I'm neurodivergent. Yeah. I don't say, you know, I'm doing something wrong. I said I'm doing something different because the brain works differently. Doesn't make it wrong.
Yeah.
You know?
So if you're different, guys, make sure to be checked. It's okay that you're different. It could be your superpower.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. I mean, you know, give me one more minute, but like as people of the, you know, like if you are in a like ecosystem, everything serves everything, or every microorganism or animal they serve differently, because then if everything and everyone is the same, then we'll be wiped out.
Yeah.
So being different actually adds to the, you know.
Yes.
It's
the
like
ecosystem.
Yeah, we're the spice in the salad. We're like the surprise, like, I don't know, apricot or piece of chicken or like, I'm sorry, I'm really hungry right now.
Can see that.
I see it now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dee, for coming.
Seriously.
And thank you for joining us. And be sure to catch our next episode where we'll dive into more heartwarming and empowering mom stories. Until we meet again, keep finding joy, stay encouraged, and always remember, in this adventure of motherhood, Mama's here for you.
Woke.
Bye.
Peace out. Bye.
Today's episode of Mama's Here podcast is produced by Kelvin, Raghinie, Ravi, and Bryan Henry. Also edited by Bryan Henry, Azwan, and Kelvin.
For more of us, find us on all social media platforms at Mama's Here Podcast. We've been your hosts, Diana Hashim and Sofea Mastan.
Bye!